Hello students, welcome for the class of MBA Semester 3 Human Relations and Legal Framework. Today is our lecture number 12 and the topic of our today's discussion is important provisions and penalties of Industrial Dispute Act 1947. The objectives of our today's session is helps to understand the important provisions and penalties which are laid down under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. The contents of our today's session are important provisions of that Industrial Dispute Act 1947 and penalties under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So let us first we are going to discuss that various provisions which are being laid down for strikes and lockout. So in section number 22 and 23, okay, see the section has been displayed over here. So according to these two sections, so there will be a certain kind of prohibition of strikes and lockout. So the employer as well as the workman and the trade union can be restricted for strikes as well as lockout under certain conditions. So these conditions are without giving the employer notice of the strike as hereinafter provided with 6 weeks before striking. So prior to going on strike, the a workman or the trade union, they should have to give the appropriate notice to the employer, okay, particularly 6 weeks before striking. Within the 14 days of giving such notice, okay. So suppose the strike has been announced, okay, just before the 14 days, even in that case the strike could not be stand to be legal. Before the expiry of the date of strike specified in any such notice as aforesaid, okay, even in certain conditions, if the date of strike which can be extended further, okay, and which should not be communicated to the notice according to the notice to the employer during the pendency of conciliation proceedings before the conciliation officer and 7 days after the conclusions of proceeding. So whenever the conciliation proceeding goes with the conciliation officers, okay, and suppose the conciliation proceedings are pending during that particular period of time, so one cannot go for strike, okay, or 7 days after the conclusions of such proceedings. So if the award has been taken by the conciliation officer which should be binding on both the parties, so just within the 7 days of announcement of the award, one cannot declare the strike. So during the pendency of the conciliation proceedings, okay, before the board or 7 days after the conclusion of such proceeding, okay, similar is the case with the board of conciliation also. So whenever the conciliation proceeding goes by the board of conciliation, so during that pendency of the conciliation proceedings, one cannot announce the strike, or just after the announcement of the award within the 7 days even, okay, in that case also one cannot declare the strike. So some provisions are to be also there, okay, with respect to tribunal and national tribunal. So during the pendency of the proceedings before the labor court, tribunal and national tribunal, so one cannot go on strike. So tribunal and 2 months after the conclusion of such proceeding, okay, whenever the decision has either it should be in the pendency of the proceeding or after the announcement of the award within the 2 months, so by the labor court, tribunal and national tribunal, okay, so the labor or the trade union cannot declare the strikes. During the pendency of arbitration proceeding before an arbitrator and 2 months after the conclusions of such proceeding, where the notification has been issued under the subsection 3A and section 10A. So whenever the arbitration proceedings are goes by means of the arbitrator and after declaration of the award just within the 2 months, okay, one cannot go for the strike even also or lockout. So these so these are the various provisions which are being made particularly for prohibition of strikes and lockout Even there are some provisions are also there during any period in which settlement of the award is in operation, okay, in respect of the matters covered by the settlement of an award. So during the period of pendency of that particular proceeding, okay, for the settlement of the award, so anyone, either employer and the employees, means the labor as well as the trade union, okay, they cannot go to declare any form of strikes and lockout. So they should have to wait for the award for the settlement of that industrial dispute, okay, whatever matters which has been connected with the industrial premises. Now these are the special form of provisions which can be made for the retrenchment of workman, compensation and certain kind of conditions. So whenever one can the employer can declare some sort of retrenchment of the employees, okay. So there will be some sort of provision to retrench the any sort of employees. The workman must have worked for nearly, suppose say, 240 days within that industrial premises. Retrenchment compensation at the rate of 15 days wages of every completed year to be calculated, okay, at last drawn wages. So there will be a provision whenever the retrenchment goes, okay, within an industrial premises. So minimum 15 days of wages must be completed, okay, within the year, okay, that should be calculated, okay, at last drawn or last drawn wages, okay, depending on that some sort of retrenchment compensation given will be given to the employees. So minimum 1 month notice or wages to be in lieu of thereof. So in during the period of retrenchment, so the employer should have to give the minimum of 1 month notice to the respective employee or the labor. The employer need to be also clarify the reasons for retrenchment, okay. There are certain conditions that we will already discuss, okay. Complying with the principle of last come first go, okay. Those who are joining late in that particular organization, they need to leave that particular organization earlier. So there will be some principles that are to be followed particularly for the process of retrenchment, and that should be implemented by the employer. Sending form P to the labor authorities, okay, whichever number of employees that are going to be retrenched by that particular employer, okay, so that the details of that employees need to be submitted to the labor authorities, okay, in form P. So there are another provisions for the retrenchment, okay. Prior permission of the government for retrenchment need to be obtained by the respective state government or central government. Where there are more than 100 workers that are employed in that industrial premises, so one cannot directly go to declare the retrenchment of the employees. Particularly in certain state, okay, there are more provisions has been made with respect to, so particularly to the number of employees. Say for example in UP, Uttar Pradesh, 300 or more workers are employing, okay, in that particular during that particular preceding 12 months of period of time, okay. So one cannot directly go to declare the retrenchment of that particular employee. As well as 3 month notice or wages there to be need to be provided by that particular employer whenever they want to send that employee on retrenchment. Minimum number of criteria that should be followed, okay, and the report should be submitted into the form number QA, okay, to the respective labor authorities of that particular state. And appropriate compensation of minimum of 15 days, okay, that should be provided according to section 25N of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So these provisions are being primarily made for the retrenchment of the employee, and how does it is going to be happen, that should be completely imposed by the respective authorities of the central as well as the state government, especially the state government. Then there are certain conditions of service, okay, to be remain unchanged under the certain circumstances during the pendency of the proceedings. So whenever the machinery for the settlement of industrial dispute that works on settlement of that industrial dispute related matters, so one cannot directly do any kind of illegal things within that particular organization. So they need to follow certain rules and regulations with respect to the whatever authorities has been communicated. So there will be not to alter the prejudice of the workman concerned with the condition of the service. So whichever has been specified in that particular contract, okay, which has been in operation, so one cannot alter the conditions of service, and one cannot take the disadvantage of the workman. To seek the express permission of the concerned authority by paying 1 month wages on dismissal, discharge, or punish a protected workman connected to with that particular dispute. Okay, so it is quite necessary to obtain the respective permission from the concerned authorities. Okay, say for example labor authorities or labor court. Okay, from whatever matters has been connected with that industrial dispute, by paying minimum 1 month of wages on dismissal and discharge or punishment of, okay, special kind of workman, that is called as protected workman. Okay, generally those are the regular workmen in that industrial premises. As well as to seek the approval of the authority by paying 1 month wages before the altering the conditions of service, dismissing or discharging or punishment of the workman. So according to section 33, all these provisions have been made. Okay, particularly if the employer want to change some or alter some certain conditions of service, okay, and whenever he is going to be dismissed, discharge, or punish that particular workman, so the minimum of 1 month of wages need to be provided to that respective workman. There are certain rights, okay, with respect to the workman, okay, during the pendency of the proceeding in the high court. If the case has been not resolved, okay, in that case, okay, it is to be transmitted by the process of conciliation, arbitration, and as well as adjudication. And whenever during the proceedings, whenever it goes in the labor court, okay, and higher authorities, say for example industrial tribunal and national tribunal, so it is quite necessary, okay, some sort of rights which are available to that particular workman. Employer has to pay the last drawn wages to the reinstated workman when proceeding challenging the award of this reinstatement are pending in the higher court. Okay, and that is according to section 17b. So whenever the proceeding goes with respect to that particular high court or labor court or any form of industrial tribunal or national tribunal, so last drawn minimum wages need to be provided to that particular workman, and it is to be reinstigated, okay, depending on whatever kind of criteria which has been laid down by that respective authorities. There are some other provisions which are being related with the layoff. Okay, some form of prior permission for layoff are being there. So when there are minimum of more than 100 workmen during the proceeding of 12 months, okay, that provisions has been made under section 25M of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So minimum of condition which has been laid, okay, prior permission need to be obtained to lay off that particular employee. So there should be minimum or there should be more than 100 workmen, okay, need to be work over a period of time, particularly for 12 months. Layoff and payment compensation conditions for laying off that particular employee. So what are the minimum conditions or criteria which has been required for laying off that particular employee? Okay, so there will be certain reason under which the employer can lay off that particular employee. So the employer can it depends on the employer. Okay, it is the failure of the employer or refusal or inability of an employer to provide the work due to certain conditions. So under the only stipulated conditions, okay, only the employer can make declare the layoff. So either there will be a shortage of coal, power, or raw material would be there. In that case, okay, the employer can declare the layoff. Even there will be accumulation of stock, the minimum stock, okay, or raw material which are being not available within that company or industrial premises, okay, and further production work could not goes. In that case, okay, one can go for layoff. Breakdown of the machinery, okay, if the industrial production process has been start and there is a breakdown, okay, within that industrial premises, and there will be certain form of natural calamities or accidents, okay, or hazards could be there, okay, that has been specified under the section 25C of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. There are some special provisions which are being laid under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 with sections 25C, okay. Similar as in case of with respect to the compensation, what form of compensation had need to be provided. So payment of wages except for intervening the weekly holiday compensation of 50% of the total or basic wages and dearness allowances for period of layoff, okay, up to maximum of 45 days in a year. If suppose the employer has declared the layoff, okay, and so minimum criteria would be there for the compensation of that particular employee. So payment of wages need to be provided, okay, except for the intervening period, okay, whenever the intervening period goes with respect to that particular employee within certain form of machinery which has been specified under this Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So weekly holiday compensation, okay, minimum of 50% of the total basic wages, okay, plus dearness allowances, okay, for a period of layoff, okay, and that should be minimum maximum of 45 days in a year, it should be provided to that particular employee. So by means of that one can protect the interest of the labor, and wherever the workers feel protected over here. Now there are some special provisions which are being related with the employer, okay, particularly to declare the closure of the undertaking or closure of that industrial premises. So the employer has to give the minimum 60 days notice to the labor authorities, okay, and simultaneously communicate to the trade union of the labor, and it should be intended closure in the form QA. So there is a specific form, okay, that should be submitted to the government authorities or labor authorities according to the section 25 FFA. So prior permission of at least 90 days need to be obtained, okay, before in form O by the government when there are 100 or more workmen, okay, during the preceding of 12 months period of time, okay. In certain state there will be 300 or more workmen according to section 25O. So one can the employer can declare the closure, okay, so but there will be some minimum criteria to declare that particular closure of the undertaking. So they should have to give minimum 60 days notice, okay, to that labor authorities in form QA, okay. In certain states, okay, if suppose there will be a form O would be there, so here also minimum 90 days before the employer need to intimate to the state or central government to declare that particular closure. So if suppose there are 100 or more workmen, those are working in that particular industrial premises. Notice of change. If the employer, those who want to close the particular enterprise even also, okay, there will be certain kind of conditions are supposed to be there, okay. So prior to that they need to intimate to the central and state government according to the fourth schedule of the act which has been specified under section 9A. So there will be minimum 21 days by an employer to the workman, okay, changing the conditions of service as provided in fourth schedule of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. If any employer that they need to change the service conditions of the employee, okay, wherever they need to give the minimum 21 days of time, okay, to implement some new changes in their service rules, okay, and that should be specified under the fourth schedule of the Act 1947, okay, subsection section 9A. There should be some other provisions which has been made by the central and state government according to that Industrial Dispute Act 1947, and that will be called as specially prohibition of unfair labor practices. So that unfair labor practices can be happen on account of the employer as well as the workman, okay, as well as the trade union, those who are being involved in that industrial dispute matter, and which has been stipulated in the fifth schedule of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So both the employer as well as the trade union can be punished in the according to that section 25T of Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So particularly whenever some sort of unfair labor practices would be there, okay, because there will be suppose there will be more than two trade unions in that organization. So there will be a possibility that the members can be increased in one of the trade union, or the one of the trade union there will be possibility that lesser number of workers those are employed in that trade union. So again there should be a quarrel in between them, okay, some sort of election related matters that has been connected with that trade union, okay. So there lots of unfair labor practices, even whatever form of fees which has been taken by that particular trade union as a form of registration of that particular employee in that trade union. So there may be a possibility of corruptions or some sort of political angle would be there, okay. In that case, okay, it can be identified by the respective authorities, Okay, sometimes even the employer can also be use some unfair labor practices, okay, so that they are giving some sort of bribe to that particular labor so as to get involved in the process of their own decision making, and they can make the use of that particular employee in the wrong way. Okay, wherever both the employer and as well as the trade union of that industrial premises, they can be punished according to section 25T of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. Then some another form of special provisions that are being related with the settlements of the award. So that is called as the period of operations of the settlement of the award. So whenever the settlement of the award has been declared by the respective authority, the settlement of for a period, okay, as agreed by the parties. Okay, so during the proceedings of any sort of settlement machineries, okay, either conciliation, okay, or arbitration, or the process of adjudication under the different authorities of Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So both the parties are being communicated in advance, okay, what should be the minimum period of time should be there that is required, okay, for the implementation of the award in that particular organization. So period of minimum 6 months on signing on of the settlement of that award. Okay, so if they want to settle whatever form of industrial dispute, so minimum time will be allotted, okay, and that should be up to 6 months. An award for 1 year after its enforcement. Okay, if suppose the award has been declared after the 1 year, okay, of enforcement, okay, whatever form of award has been declared by the respective authority, but the organization, means the management of the organization as well as trade union or that employee representative, they were not immediately implemented the award or within the 6 months of that declaration of the award. Okay, so there should be some sort of penalties would be there, okay, on account of both employer and as well as the trade union. Persons bound by the settlement. Okay, and these sort of provisions are made available in the section 18 of the Industrial Dispute Act. When the course of conciliation proceeding, etc., okay, all persons working in the joining subsequently. So whenever the process of conciliation proceeding goes within that with respect to that industrial premises, okay, goes under the respective authorities, okay, otherwise than in course of settlement upon the parties to the settlement. Okay, wherever whatever form of parties those who are involved, okay, in that process of settlement of industrial dispute, okay, so they are being bound to implement that particular decision within that particular period of time. So these provisions has been made under section 18 and as well as section 19, okay, of related with the matters that are connected with the settlement of awards. So power of the labor code to give some sort of appropriate relief to certain kind of employees and the employer even also. So there will be some different authorities that we will discuss earlier. Okay, so according to section 11A of the Industrial Dispute Act, the labor code has been empowered to provide some sort of some appropriate relief. Okay, so labor court, industrial tribunal, okay, wherever they will find out on account of that industrial dispute to can modify the punishment or dismissal or discharge of any form of workman. So they will give some appropriate relief, okay, including some reinstatement of that particular award. So if any form of employee which has been reinstigated again and identified, okay, so they can remodify their existing award, okay, and they in case of any form of dismissal, discharge, okay, or if they suppose found that, okay, there has been some sort of injustice has been made with respect to that particular employee, so they can modify that particular form of punishments. So that's all about various provisions. Now let us discuss about the penalties under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So these are the various forms of penalties which are being made under the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So right from section number 25 to 30 near about, okay, there are lots of provisions has been made, okay, with respect to the penalties. So whatever form of offenses are supposed to be there, okay, with respect to that, okay, there will be some sort of penalty and that should be implemented by the respective authorities. In case of layoff or retrenchment without prior permission, okay, if the employer has not obtained the prior permission, okay, the workmen are entitled to get all the benefits, okay, which are been made by the appropriate authority during the period of laid off. Okay, the employer shall be punishable even with imprisonment up to 1 month, or there shall be a fine of rupees 1000. So it depends on, okay, whatever form of retrenchment or layoff, okay, which has been made without any prior permission. In section 25 R1, okay, there will be the condition of illegal closure. If any of the employer, they can declare that there is an illegal closure of an undertaking, okay, in that case that workman may be entitled to get all the benefits, okay, and in that case, okay, the employer shall be punishable with imprisonment up to 6 months, and there should be a fine of rupees 5000 rupees. Then section 25 R2, okay, any form of offence that are being related with the countervening an order refusing permission to close down the undertaking under section 25O, or the directions given under 25P. If the government order, okay, which has been not been implemented with respect to the closure of the enterprise, okay, by that particular employer, okay, in that case, okay, there will be a penalty, okay, and that penalty would be, okay, workman will get all the benefits over here, okay, and the employer shall be punishable to with imprisonment up to 1 year, or there will be a fine of rupees 5000, plus also, okay, that fine can be increased up to 2000 rupees per day, okay, during the period of contravention. So it will be depend that how the issue has been investigated during that particular period of industrial dispute. Under section 25T and 25U, okay, commenting any form of unfair labor practices either by the labor or trade union or the employer. So there is a provision with respect to the penalty, and that penalty may be, okay, imprisonment up to 6 months, okay, and or a fine of rupees 1000, okay, that can be imposed either on labor, the management or the trade union, those who are involved in the industrial dispute related matters, okay, that will be declared as an unfair labor practices. And then the in section 26(1), so there will be some sort of offense that is related with the illegal strike, okay, if any matters which are being connected with the strike, and suppose the workers, those who are illegally involved in any form of strikes, okay, which can be declared as illegal, okay, so there will be a penalty of imprisonment of 1 month, okay, or a fine of rupees 50, okay, that should be imposed on that particular labor. Under section 26(2), okay, again there will be a form of offense that is called as illegal lockout, okay, that is declared by the employer, okay, who commence, continues, otherwise act in furtherance of the lockout which is illegal under this act. So any form of illegal lockout would be there, okay, so there will be a form of penalty that is called as imprisonment of 1 month or fine up to rupees 1000 that can be imposed on the employer. So during the period of countervening period, okay, one cannot directly do any kind of things which are being related with the lockout. Under section 27, okay, there will be some sort of instigation, okay, that can be made by any of the person, those who are involved in the process of that industrial dispute. So any person who instigate or incites others to take part in, otherwise act in furtherance of or strike, lockout which is illegal under the act. So there will be sometimes, okay, some persons, those who are not connected with the industrial dispute, they try to interfere over the matters of that industrial dispute, either strike or lockout, okay, and they try to influence others illegally over there. So if the person found that, okay, and there shall be some sort of imprisonment, okay, for 6 months or fine up to rupees 1000 that can be imposed as a penalty on that particular person. Under section 25, under section 28, okay, there will be the offense that has been related with the financial assistance to strike. So any person, those who are involved in that particular strike and provided some sort of financial assistance to the strike, and it is found that the strike it is illegal, okay, or the lockout is illegal, is somebody supporting that particular strike, okay, or lockout, okay, illegally, so there shall be a punishment of imprisonment of 6 months and a fine of rupees 1000. Under section 25, okay, there will be a breach of settlement or award binding under the act. So whatever form of settlement of award, okay, and suppose that settlement has been breached, okay, by that particular employer or trade union, okay, so there shall be some sort of penalty with respect to the imprisonment for 6 months, okay, or fine, or plus fine even also in sometimes, and plus additional fine of rupees 200 per day if the breach continues after the convictions. Okay, so it is suppose found that, okay, the breach of contract or breach of settlement of that particular award has not been imposed within that particular organization. So some sort of penalty has been there on the employer as well as the trade union. Then in section 30, disclosing confidential information, contravention of the provisions of section 21. So according to section 21 of the Industrial Dispute Act, some sort of confidential information that is related with the trade union or the employer of that particular organization, so one cannot directly disclose that confidential information. Okay, so if suppose somebody is doing in such a way, so there will be some sort of penalty with respect to, okay, imprisonment of 6 months or the fine of rupees 1000 that can be imposed on that particular person, those who are involved in that industrial dispute related matters. So according to section 30, some sort of offences which are being laid down under the Industrial Dispute Act, okay, closing down any undertaking without complying with the provisions of section 25 FFA. So these are the provisions which are specifically made under the provisions, okay, that is called as section 25 FFA. Okay, so one cannot directly close down that operations of that any undertaking, okay, without complying whatever provisions has been made under these sections 25 FFA. So suppose if anybody is doing in such a way, okay, illegally, in that case imprisonment of 6 months, okay, or a fine of rupees 5000 will be imposed on that particular employee, those who want to close that particular enterprise. Section 31(1), okay, contravention of the section 33, okay, that will be specifically related with the service conditions of remaining unchanged during the pendency of the proceedings. If suppose the proceeding with respect to the settlement of industrial dispute goes under the process of conciliation, okay, arbitration or adjudication, so one cannot directly make some changes in the service conditions of the employees. If anybody is doing so, so according to section 33, okay, there will be a penalty of imprisonment of 6 months or a fine of rupees 1000 that is imposed on the employer. According to section 31(2), okay, any kind of contravening any other provisions where the specific penalty is not provided for, okay, there are some issues which are being not covered and it is found that the person is doing some wrong way with respect to that industrial dispute, okay, so some sort of fine which should be imposed, okay, on that particular employee, which is up to rupees 100 rupees. So these are all the summary with respect to whatever form of penalties which are being available with respect to that Industrial Dispute Act that we were discussed earlier. So there has been some changes and, okay, which has been made with respect to the amendments time to time. Okay, say for example, currently the committing unfair labor practices that can have an imprisonment of up to 6 months, okay, and fine of rupees 3000 that should be imposed on the employer. So similar is the some sort of penalties, okay, which has been made, okay, according to section 25 to section 31, okay, which are being related with the penalties of the Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So that's all about our today's session. Okay, thank you very much, and that we have been completed the Industrial Dispute Act 1947 over here. Thank you very much.